It's not a surprise that most horror films are criticized for their depictions of sexuality and gender, particularly in women. It's a normal trope in horror movies, especially in psychological horror. The main character, who happens to be a woman who is running away from something and often sees it chasing her. In a way, most films portray female characters as helpless victims, sexually promiscuous, and punished for being sexually active. In the 2014 film, It Follows, it's about a carefree teenager, Jay, and she just happens to sleep with her new boyfriend, who actually passes on a fatal curse to each victim by sexual intercourse. In the film, Jay only sees figures and people that she could only see and not her friends, to the point where people kind of call her crazy. Again, this isn't a surprise where most of the time people don't believe in women and what they see and what has happened to them. This reminded me a lot of another film called The Uninvited that was back in 2009 about a young girl who just got out of a psychiatric facility. These two films are very similar. They're both under the psychological horror genre, and they also play with the trope of the helpless victim and main character who is experiencing something following her to the point where she thinks she's crazy. Both films do a really great job with camera work, visuals, sound, and just getting the audience to the edge of the seat and waiting to know what happens next. It's a normal trope of the protagonist girl in every horror film, with heavy doses of sex, violence, and emotions that are often dismissed by hallucinations or what the girl sees and not everybody else. In the Reading the Terror Pleasure article, this is brought up a lot in horror films, how women are often pointed as victims. And after watching the film, I was not surprised that there was plenty of sex. In every horror film, sex is just normal, and I'm prone to seeing it on screen, on unnecessary scenes. It's often just a normal thing, to the point where the female protagonist is chased and sees twisted things around her house, and she's freaked out, and nobody else believes her because they think she's just hallucinating. I think this also plays into the gender of women that are often not believed, and I think psychological horrors have improved throughout the time to where they've switched the gender roles to males and helping everybody understand where it's not just the women, but it could happen to anybody.